Hey guys, Mike coming back with another video. This one is the pre-national video. I've been watching a lot of great videos concerning what the people are going to buy with the national, what they want to do at the national. And like most people say, the main reason I like to go is just to see people that I haven't seen for some time. Especially true this year. I haven't been to the National since COVID broke out in 2020. So 2019. So it's been 4 years since I was last at the National. So Lord willing, I get to go this year. Everything's arranged. I'll be staying with Brian, my buddy, B-Roth 6. Both of us are big Hank Greenberg collectors, of course. And we kind of started a good friendship years ago when I met Brian on probably Net 54 looking for Hank Greenberg stuff. I always figured it's better to have a fellow collector as a friend instead of a rival, just because you can work with each other and get things each of you need. And that's worked into a very nice friendship over the years. And I haven't seen Brian since 2019, so it's going to be good to see him and walk the floor again. It's one of our traditions we got into. But a lot of other people I want to see I haven't saw in years, and yeah, Lord willing, if I get to go back in the next 9 days, that'll be fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it. And it's like everybody else says, it's more about the people than it is the cards. To be honest, being a super collector, I'm starting off with Johnny, and then I went to Hank, and now I do Barney too. I don't see a lot of things at the National just because I've got a lot of it. Because being a super collector, you're kind of real specialized. And I'm the type, I have checklists, and I know exactly what I'm looking for. And a lot of times things are getting to the point that I need are pretty rare. And usually if I go to the National, I might pick up 2 or 3 things each time I go, on average, I'd say. Usually it's more of an autograph of Hank or something than it is a card. I'm going to show you all what I'm looking for as I get down to the nitty-gritty on these. I'll start off with my newest PC, the Barney collection. Now, he has played from 1903 to 1912. So there's not a lot out there. He played for the Browns, which was a traditionally weak team back then. He actually has he actually was a good pitcher. He just played on a bad team. His career earned run average was like, I'm thinking 2.6 something, maybe 2.8. Even for back then, that was pretty good. Just that he got shut out. A lot of times he'd be in 1-0 games, 2-1 games on the wrong end. And there's only about, according to PSA's registry, he only has about 20 items to put on it. And I've been waiting for SGC to do their registry again, though I'm about giving up on that. But going just by PSA's checklist, I was going to show you a few things I need of his. Really cool stuff. Now, these are photos. These aren't the originals. If you all know John and Rick, you might be able to see the originals on their channels, but not here. Just to give you an idea what I'm looking for. Now, there's 2 items on Pelty's list that I don't even know if they exist. They're on the checklist. One of them is the Sporting Life W600. This is what they look like. This is a Honus Wagner, and I won't tell you how much this thing actually costs. It's on eBay right now for, I think, 5 figures. But Barney's on the checklist for that, though PSA has never, or SGC has never slabbed one. So I'm really looking forward to talking to the vintage dealers, especially at Specialized and the turn of the century stuff, to see if they've ever even seen one of these. I've talked on Net 54, and a lot of these guys that collect this stuff have never seen it. So it might be out there. It might be like 2 or 3 in existence. Probably. I'll just probably never know. The other one is the Pinkerton set, 1911 Pinkerton T5. You can see them. There's the photo with a border. They're attached to a gray border. And you can find them with and without the border, from what I've read pretty commonly. So I'm going to see if any of the dealers have ever seen Pelty in that issue. More just to make sure they exist than to actually think that I'm going to see it. Now, for a few things that might actually be able to be attainable, one of them is the 1909 H.H. Breakstone postcard series. And this is the one I'm looking for. Now, Love of the Game is actually selling the Barney Pelty collection from the family. And I think I bought about a third of the lots that have come from the family on Barney. And that's really nice. The population report before they got this consignment from the family at PSA, Love of the Game got 6 of these postcards. They auctioned off 2 in the last auction, and I got outbid on both. They're supposed to have another auction coming up, and I'm going to be trying very hard to get one of those 2 cards in the next auction, because they said they'll probably put 2 more in the next auction. So that one is obtainable, possibly, unless there's one big collector that wants them all and there just has unlimited funds that might buy them all. We'll see what happens. Another one, the other ones here are pretty rare for Barney. One is this 1910 to 13 T215. You don't hear much about the T215s. You do the T205s, 206s, of course, and the 207s, but this is a T215. And this is what his card looks like. Now, this essentially is the exact card that was used for the T206. And at the bottom of the 206s, it says Pelty, St. Louis, or Americans. On this one, it's got Pelty with Washington. Pelty played from up till 1912 with St. Louis. He was traded kind of, I think, later in the year to Washington, and that's who he finished his career with for the most part. So these cards actually were issued probably late 1912, early 1913, with him on the Washington team. And you know that's the date because he was only with Washington like in the fall, late summer, early fall of 1912. They're called Red Cross because instead of the typical backs you hear about, you know, the sweet caps and Piedmonts and stuff, they were the Red Cross tobacco. And these are really, really tough. There's 3 types. There's a type 1 with brown lettering at the bottom. PSA and SGC has not graded any of those. This one is the blue lettering at the bottom. PSA is graded 2, and SGC has done 1, so very rare. And then the third variation is called the Pirate Back. And it's very cool, Pirate Cigarettes. And SGC's actually done 2 of these, and PSA has done none. So probably I'll never find one of those. And if I do, it's probably, if it's in any major collection or dealer, it's going to be a fortune. So we'll just see what happens. And then the final card for Pelty I'm looking for, and this is another one. It's a 1910 Juju Drums E286. Looks a lot like Colgan's Chips. And that's the actual picture of the Pelty card. And SGC has done 1 of these. PSA has done 2. So again, I'm looking hard for that. They do exist. So, I mean, the W600 Sporting Life and the Pinkerton, I don't know if they exist or not. The Breakstone, I know, and that might be obtainable. The Red Cross and the Juju Drums, they're very low pop. I know who's got a couple of them, and they're not going anywhere. So we'll just have to wait and see. All right, next one is going to do is, let's do Johnny next. There's only 3 cards of the vintage era of Topps that I need from 1968 to 1983 Topps. And they're two of them are huge. There's 3 different candy lids issues. 2 of them were test issues, 70, 72, and then they came out in 73. 73 being the most abundant. I did get the 70 recently, and that really shocked me. I was so happy to pick that up. And this is the other 72 I need. If you know the candy lids, you know that this was a little pack of candy, bubble gum, I believe, and these were actually the lids that have the pull top. Think about like a little ice cream carton where you pull the pull tab off the top and eat the ice cream in the little cup. That's how these were with bubble gum in them. This one is the same picture, I believe, as 73, but it doesn't have a yellow border around it. If it's got a yellow border, it's 73. These are 72, and they're very cool. They do, being not licensed, Topps as being a test issue, I guess they weren't licensed officially, so they couldn't put like the red symbol, the C on the cap. I have seen a couple of these over the years, but they went for a lot of money. But I'm down to the nitty gritty, so I'm going to have to probably fork it out if I ever want to complete. I mean, I've got this far. I just need a few 2 or 3 pieces to finish it. So eventually I will get it. This is the other major one. This is a 1973 Topps Comics. I think Heritage just did kind of like their spin-off of it, like last year maybe, or the year before. These are really cool. This is the actual one that's on eBay right now. But the guy wants nearly $6,000 for it. And I'm not to that point I'm ready to drop that kind of money. I have seen a few over the years. I've seen a couple at the National. But even back a few years ago, they wanted well over $2,000 for it. And I thought it was overpriced. But obviously I should have seriously considered it back then. This might be the same one, I don't know, but I think I've seen 2 or 3. I've been collecting back again the bench for probably a good 13, 15 years now. So I have seen a few of these, but hopefully I'll be able to track one down eventually. And this one's kind of, it is a vintage. It's called the 1982 Blacklist card. The ink, apparently, the black ink, I don't know if it was left off, it won't run out. Normally for this issue, it's got Johnny Bench signature across of it. And this one, you can see all the black of the card is missing. And and I've read about on Net 54, there's certain sheets and such that these were cut from. And there's just a handful of them. If I can ever find another one, I did see one I've sold for eBay years ago, and I really didn't care much about getting that variation. I was more about just the base stuff as far as not the offshoot. Because to me, it could have been just a printing error, but these are collected, and I probably will get this eventually if I ever see another one of them. And that's about all for bench I need as far as vintage plain days cards. And finally, we'll do Hank real quick. Probably the rarest card that nobody knows about is the 1934 rookie card. It's a 1934 R304 Al Demery die cut. Everybody knows the 34 Gowdy, and most people know about the Annisper Detroit Tigers set that's got Hank in it from that year. And of course, everybody knows about the batter-ups that were issued in 34. So that's 3 of his 4 official rookie cards. And this one is the 4th one, but was found in there was a group of these found, like a small hoard, and a lot of unknown examples were in that hoard, including the Greenberg. And I got this off the internet. This is slabbed by PSA. And this is, as far as I know, it's one of a kind. It's number 29 on the card. It's very cool. I don't know who got that hoard or if it ever got sold, but obviously if it came up for auction, it would get probably 5 figures easily, and no telling how much more if 2 guys really went after it. Now besides that, I do need a couple variations. The Gaudi white pens, I need the Type 5 without the litho and USA. I didn't bring one of those, I don't think. But that's kind of a variation. And the sports stamps from 1936. There's a variety of newspapers across the country that printed stamps with the players' pictures and bios on them. We've got, between me and Brian's got the Pittsburgh Sun and the Detroit Times, and there's also the Washington newspaper, the Washington Herald, I believe. But I've read that there's multiple newspapers. It's just never you never see them. And speaking of other things you never see, I need is most people know of the BF3 pennants, small pennants with pictures of the players. They've got all the major players. And Hank is on those. But in 1937, they released a one called the BF Uncirculated F Felt Pennant. It looked like this. And I've never seen one. Greenberg's actually right up there. And very rare. A guy posted this for me on Net54. And they look like a little popcorn box to me is what they look like. So, but I've never seen one, but obviously it exists. That guy's got one. And Greenberg I've been collecting for a good 10, 12 years now. And there's also a 37 blanket. Don't look at the top two. It's like this one right here. It's Jimmy Fox. And that's another one I have never seen. So I'll be looking for that set. And I'm going through all these just so, I see a lot of John's videos and Rick's videos showing you different type cards from different sets. And this might be something you haven't seen before. So I thought it'd be interesting to show you not only what I'm looking for, but something that out there that you might not have known existed. And most of these sets that I'm showing you, especially like these, they have all the major stars. Those Phelps, BF Phelps probably have, they got all the big stars of the time. If you collect certain players, I'm sure they're in there, or at least most of them are. Get out your standard catalog and look at these sets, and you might find something you really like if you collect DiMaggios or Foxes or Gehrigs or anything like that. It's very unknown, very hard to find, and very worthwhile looking. Another one is this 1938 Wheaties. I've got all the Wheaties sets for Tank, except for this one. This is a 1938, I believe this is correct, the 1938 Series 15. From what I've been told on Net54, these most Wheaties were on the back of the boxes of Wheaties issued in the 30s up to 1940 or so. These were on the single package boxes of Wheaties. So these are smaller issues, or minis they call them. And from what I read, these were only issued to like hospitals, trains, institutions, or places where people would eat individual boxes. If this was at the hospital and someone had this for breakfast or on a train, they probably wouldn't save the box. And just finding, like, this is the Gehrig. All you Gehrig collectors, have you ever seen this before? It's a Wheaties Series 15. I'm looking for the Hank, but if you collect Gehrig, you might look for this. But they're really rough. I've never seen a Greenberg ever of this set. So it's another interesting piece. And let's see here. Also is this 1940 Diamond Dust punchboard card. I got one of these out. These are punch boards from the 30s and 40s. This is very big and thick. And they're games that you would go to a bar and play. Like, it's got pictures of some of the players on it. Like this one has Mel Ott, Feller, Johnny Vandermeer, McCormick, Greenberg, DiMaggio, Fedwick, Jimmy Fox, Rudy York. It's even got pictures of them. And these are little punches for 5 cents a punch. You punched out each. There's a little lever behind this, a little punch unit behind that little sticker, and you can punch out a card. And if you punch out something that's a winner, you get $1 for a nickel try. And some of them had these pictures of players you could pop out and get. Now these are very, very rare. This is Dizzy Dean. As you can see, it's like a shade. It was folded up and then put into these boards and punched out. When you punched out, that's my understanding. They seem awful big to. These are much. This picture is much bigger than actual. But still, even if they rolled up, they're probably maybe 3/4 of an inch long, or maybe an inch. And then they unfold like an accordion, like that. They were rolled up and then put in one of these boards. And I know Brian has bought a board and punched it out, and he just had a little piece of the paper in that board. So I've talked to a couple collectors, and if you look online, this is the Dizzy Dean. There's a Bob Feller on eBay right now. If you collect Bob Feller, it's pricey. It's I think $2,000 or $3,000. But whatever, there's a certain board from that on the back here. I'll tell you like the serial number and color and all this sort of thing. And there's one issue that when you punch, those pictures are in that board, but I know one guy says he knows what number it is, so he's always looking for it, but he won't tell anybody, of course, because everybody go crazy trying to get those pictures. Like I said, they sell for thousands of dollars. And there's a Michigan Sports Service. I didn't bring a picture of that one. 1940 Michigan Sports Service out of Detroit. It was issued, of course, 1940, right around the beginning of the everything for the war effort was revving up. And they say that a lot of the cards weren't made. There's a set of Tiger cards that was issued in the Detroit area. Most dealers I've talked to in Detroit say they've never seen it, the Greenberg. There are 4 or 5 other players that show up occasionally. I've actually got a fake one that this Detroit group actually made just to fill in the hole in the collection. Wish I'd brought that one. I didn't bring that one. But anyway, it's another rarity. They actually made that an issue that I've actually seen the original one in a picture, so I know it exists, but I haven't seen it in years for sale. So, but that's giving you a clue for all the vintage stuff. Yeah, I mean, you always see me showing things. That's what I'm looking for at the National. I don't think I'll find any of them. Maybe if I could find one, I would be ecstatic. If that's all I bought for the whole show, I would be very happy. But just wanted to share that with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe got you interested in some of your favorite vintage players that might be in those sets also. You can look them up online. There's trading card database. There's all, Beckett. There's all kinds of places to look at checklists. That's what some of them look like. So maybe you might want to go looking for one of those too. But I'll tell you, they're hard to find. But I hope to see everybody at the National. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, it's been 4 years. So it'll be great seeing everybody and hanging out. And if I get me a card or two, I would be ecstatic. But I can come home with nothing but the memories and talking to some people I really want to see again. And I'd be very happy with that trip. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Just something a little different from me this time. And if you're going, enjoy it. If not, enjoy all the recap videos. As always, the last few years, I've enjoyed watching every video that people post. But thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon, Lord willing. Bye-bye.